My name is Philip Lanos. I'm your host, and today I am here with Ed Laczynski. He is the co founder and CEO of Zype, the infrastructure for digital video. He's focused on Zype's vision right now, talent, and the corporate strategy, and he's on a mission to connect the world streaming video. So, with that being said, Ed, thank you for coming by and talking about Zype. Please tell me exactly how it is you went from where you were before to connecting the dots to where you are now with Zype. Now, was this always something you wanted to do, or did it happen after college? Did you have someone in your family that's entrepreneurial? Just a few of the tidbits here and there.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Thanks so much for having me today. I really appreciate it. It's so nice to be with you. Yeah, how did we get here? I think, you know, I'm fortunate that my team at Zype, like we're all focused on this vision of being the infrastructure for digital video, and to get to that point where we kind of figured that out. It's not just my journey; it's our entire team's. But you know, I'm really excited when you can help people do more, right? And you can help them by doing more without you having to do it for them, right? So like products that can live and breathe and grow without you being there. And so was really a journey of figuring out that there's this ecosystem in digital video that is incredibly costly and complex to do really awesome things with, to build products like we're on right now, like Zoom, or to build a Netflix or something like that. And most enterprises, that's not their core business. And their core business might be fitness, or it might be publishing, or it might be selling toys. And we have customers that use Zype to distribute video along all those lines. And to get there, I think if you really focused on solving those problems for customers and making it easy and delightful for them. So to get to that point for me was a kind of a long journey from like when I was a little kid to like college to post-college career. But I think the essence of it is really like surrounding yourself with awesome people and building something that can really like help other people do amazing things.
Right. And I know before the call started, we started talking a little bit about this. And you mentioned your dad had a career in tech and you were kind of always on the edge of tech growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, I was really lucky. My father worked for Hewlett Packard, and like a lot of little boys, they want to kind of do what their dad does or they look up to him, and he was great and still is. And well, a lot of kids were, getting, toys and all kind of stuff. Like I would always want him to bring home computers from work. So he would bring home like these business computers, like he would borrow for a week or two or a month or two. One of them was an IBM PCXT, and I just loved it. I love like the green screen. Like this is like the Matrix thing, right? Like you kind of green screen, cookie
Yeah.
keyboard. And I just was like, this is what I want to do. Like whatever it is around this, I love this. So I kind of learned how to program. I learned how to mess around with it. I started some really early kind of proto businesses, messing around with like sharing open source software, freeware, and trying to make like $5 here and there, like literally, like just messing around. And so I remember a story of my mom getting like random. This was before there was really no email yet. Really, there was like some stuff you could do. There was
Wow.
like early stuff, and I would get stuff in the mail. I would get like checks in the mail from people for like $3.
Your
Be like,
mom
what is it?
definitely had to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, mess around with stuff like that. And then, as I grew my career, like even in college, as the internet, and I'm a late 70s, I'm a Star Wars baby, right? So I came
Oh.
out the year like New Hope came out. I was kind of like judged my whole thing. And so like I was, early 80s kid, pre-internet, but there was some electronic stuff going on, right? Like pre cable even. Like I remember when my family got
Wow.
cable. So I saw these transitions. I think that's a key thing, and I like recommend other entrepreneurs think about when they're thinking about starting businesses or how they want to scale their business. Like, what are these moments of transition? And I
Mm.
noticed this stuff then, and I've been very fortunate to focus on the future in a lot of areas. And for Zype in particular, we
Yes.
saw like this transformation where like people started buying streaming sticks, and everyone had a mobile phone that was a supercomputer, and video bandwidth was getting super cheap and cloud computing was making all this stuff possible. And so I think those are the moments you enter markets or try to do something cool.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. So Zype. Okay. Is Zype a competitor to Zoom, or what exactly? How does it sit or fit in the marketplace?
Yeah, it's a great question. No, definitely not competitor to Zoom. Zoom is a video conferencing communication center. In fact, we have a plugin for Zoom. So if, let's
Oh.
say we want to take this, and I'll like let me tell that story from this perspective. Let's say you and I, our conversation right now, we want to take that and then distribute it to 1 million people on Apple TV, Samsung TV, Pluto TV. Let's say Phil, you have your own app and website, and put on a YouTube channel, and do all that in like one place. That's what you use that for.
Oh, wow. So it's like a
Yeah,
distribution platform.
yeah.
It's really the infrastructure. Okay, so that can't be easy. How did you have to raise money to start a company? Because you said, I mean, it's getting cheaper, but it's not cheap to host
Yeah.
video at this level yet, is
Yeah.
it?
No, it's not. I mean, so we had raised money. Yeah. The story around Zype, my co-founder and I, who met at um McCann Erickson, in a digital agency, and when in the early 2000s. So we've been partnering together for 20 years, which is I'm very fortunate to have
Wow.
that kind of relationship with someone and really be able to bounce things off of and grow together. It's been great.
You guys are
Um,
family. 20
yeah, no,
years.
really. We When we started the company, we started as an API. It was an API first. It was very lightweight. It did a couple of things really, really well. We didn't even have a dashboard. You couldn't log into it really. We can give a customer like credentials, they can use it. And we quickly knew that to really make a mark here, it was going to be a long story. It's like you're building any kind of like utility or durable company. It's going to take a while. This isn't like TikTok or something like that, where it's like overnight, it's going to be a success. It's not viral initially, right? It's infrastructure, it's B2B, it's
Yeah.
corporate selling. It's not, that kind of like viral consumer sale. So we knew we had to raise some money to build it. And, I was really fortunate, like prior to Zype, I had worked with a company called DataPipe, who has since been bought by a company called Rackspace. You probably heard of Rackspace.
I
It's a
have.
like server company. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I grew with that company, and we built a pretty large business there together. And I was fortunate that myself and one of the co-founders of that company were able to, and Chris, my co-founder, were able to put some money together. And we were like the first money in. And then we started scaling it up, and we went to something called South by Southwest Accelerator. So
Yeah.
South by Southwest,
Yeah.
right?
Of
Okay.
course.
So I signed up for this accelerator program and was just like, we need to do something to kind of make our mark. And like Twitter launched at this thing, and so did Foursquare, right? So these are companies that we
At
looked
the
up to.
same
And we're like, hey,
time.
we want to be
Wow.
like that.
Yeah.
So we went to this accelerator program, which is kind of like an incubator and which gives you mentorship as well
Yeah.
as, a contest like Shark Tank, really. And we did it over a number of months. And then we showed up, and when there was a contest, and we won it for entertainment and media technology. And that was like the springboard where like VCs started becoming interested in us, and we raised additional funds and like kind of scaled the company from there.
So your company is older than Zoom.
I mean, it might be. Yeah. How
So
old is
you
Zoom?
you you built. I'm not sure. I can
We're
check.
like 2015 is when we launched. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Actually, yes, because it had just started coming in. So you may have been either right at the same time or just before.
Yeah.
But I imagine you were. Did you find that you were the one who built most of this infrastructure to really work in one solution the way it does now before anybody else?
I think we had a vision for that. I think there are a lot of companies it's much like Zoom, actually. I think a lot of companies solving similar problems or going after the same dollars, but doing it in ways that didn't, really have the best experience for where the customer is going. So
And
like,
that's because they didn't grow up on the edge of technology,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And then to also have partners in media to go in with you. I'm starting to see how this fits together and why you
yeah,
decided to choose this even now. So
yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Please
No, no,
yeah, yeah.
I think it's great. I think, look at Zoom, like they disrupted like WebEx has been around forever, like GoToMeeting, all these conferencing solutions. I
That's
mean,
true.
it's a famous story about Eric Wan, who's like a really awesome guy I look up to. And that like he entered a business that nobody thought was interesting because it was a problem solved. And he nailed it, obviously, with Zoom, right? He provided a
Yeah.
better experience, more connected experience, that sort of thing. So, like a lot of other entrepreneurs, we look up to companies like that. I think everyone should. And like, the sexiest thing is not always the best thing to go into. And
100%.
the story of Zype still being written, but we think we're in a space that's very durable and long term, and like we will ultimately, like, success is sexy. So as we grow our
Yes,
company, and we
sir.
did, we had 15 billion API calls on our platform in November.
Oh, wow.
We grew our streaming footprint 400% this year. The year's not even over yet. We're growing really fast. So I think these kind of things, that if you think about, if you're a video publisher, if you're a fitness company like Crunch Fitness, the Crunch gym chain, they
Yeah.
run their video streaming on our platform. The Vox Media, they run some of their best
Yeah.
video centric publishing, companion products like Eater and stuff like that on our platform. These kind of companies are able to do a lot of really powerful stuff, and they didn't have to hire teams to go figure it out. They can experiment really quickly. Their development teams can build on top of it and innovate their own designs without having to be stuck on it. So we're kind of like a bunch of really cool Lego blocks for people that want to build video products, and we're excited to be in that
Coming back to
space.
that philosophy you have of being able to give someone a product that doesn't necessarily that lives on even beyond you,
Yeah,
that you don't have to be present for it to be managed.
yeah,
That's cool. So tell me, how do you go about building a team that runs a company like this? Because I imagine,
yeah.
yeah, you have infrastructure, but there's got to be somebody managing it and maintaining
Oh
it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, so we have, like anything that you grow, anything you build, whether it's a company, a family, whatever it is, like things evolve over time, right? And you wear lots of different hats at certain stages, and the company, each stage kind of changes, right? And so we've been fortunate that, we've been around for about 5 years, going on 6. We just had 3 people, in addition to myself, my co-founder, have 5-year anniversaries. So we have some of our original employees and founders still with us.
That's cool.
Um, in fact, one of our, yeah, we had people return to the company. So I think surrounding yourself with awesome people is like a number one business tip for anybody. Like, get the best people you can. There's this old mantra like hire slow, fire fast. And I think that it's maybe better said of like, just do a really good job in finding a real good fit for people. And you don't have to like fire anybody or worry about people quitting. Or if they do quit, it's like you're happy about it because like
Right.
maybe they're moving on in their career. So we found good people that like want to be with us and believe in our vision. It hasn't all been perfect, right? Building a great team is like probably the hardest thing you can do. That's why I make my job description at the company is half of it's like focusing on talent. I have to make sure our people are super happy and engaged and challenged, and we can bring in A players all the time. But
See,
yeah, I think
that's cool. If somebody wanted to get hired at Zype, let's say they're listening to this and they may play one of many roles, but they were like, "Wow, it sounds like because it sounds like you really love your team." I know you mentioned earlier you
yeah,
were like, "It's really about my team." You have a co-founder you've been working with for 20 years. I see a lot of loyalty in this, and there's such a strength behind that to be a part
yeah,
of a company that has that. And for me, that's a huge highlight in a company. So I imagine there are people wondering like, "Oh, are they hired?" Because the times are as they are
yeah,
now. Are
yeah.
you guys look? Because I know you hire slow, fire fast, but are you
Yeah,
specifically
we don't do that.
looking?
That's an old thing. I said just like we try to like just hire right. You know what I mean? Just hire the
Mm,
right people and take our time
how
with
do
it.
you do that?
It's well, we built a process I think is pretty cool. So we're very transparent. So the best first of all, like Zype.com/jobs has all of our job openings and even opportunities. If you just want to apply, you don't even know what you want to do. Like we look at everything. We look at everybody
Wow.
coming in. We're very transparent on our process. We do a lot of early fit. So we talk to people really about what are their goals, what are they good at, what are they not good at, and what don't they want to do. So we
Uh-huh.
ask that up front. And those are the 4 questions I ask everyone that when I do screening. I don't always do all the screening, but like sometimes I do. And that helps alignment really quick. If somebody is like, hey, you know what, this is job, it's whatever engineer job or a sales job, marketing, and they could be a great person with a great background, and you really want to work with them, but they don't want to do the things you want to do, or they don't want to do them right now in their career. Maybe they're not ready for that, or they don't want to do it again. I like to get that out of the way early. All that stuff. Get it out of the way. Let's make sure that we're a good fit right here. And then I think you also have to be mission driven. So you have to tell people what the mission of the job is. What matters here? You know what I mean? How are you going to be looked at by your peers in the company? And you tell them that as part of the process early as possible. Like your mission is to, let's say, improve our net promoter score with our top ranked customers, or it's to, engineer a new process for quality assurance, or like whatever it is, like be really clear that like there's a result here. We're not just operational robots. Like we want you to come in and make an impact. And I think it's really important to make sure like impact is part of how you pitch jobs to people, because like you said, it is pandemic. There's a lot of people are kind of, some people, there's been some layoffs, some people are worried about their jobs, but the best people, whether they've been laid off or they're looking outside, I think everyone wants to make an impact right now. It's so hard. No one's physically adjacent anymore. We're all over video. We want to feel like we're doing something real. I think that impact is so important to make sure you cover that early on in your conversations with candidates.
I really like the fact that you ask people, what do you not want to do? I feel like it's so much easier to think in terms of what not, as opposed to sometimes like, what do you want, right? Or what don't you
Yeah.
want? And then I can only imagine that conversation has had some interesting answers along the way.
Yeah.
But for me, I started seeing a story of Zype as this company that really is doing things. A lot of people have they have these conversations about culture, but then you walk into their companies and it's the same old song, and they don't really care about their team the way they say they do. They might buy them snacks or whatever, but honestly, if they had to, they might let go of somebody. And I've seen it time and time
Yeah.
again. But from what I'm hearing, it's very close knit. You guys all know each other. You probably know about each other's lives and what's going on. Very supportive. For people to come back to your company, that says a lot right there. So I'm starting to see some really great things in terms of like the humanity of your company, and you combine that with an incredible product that actually stands to create continuous benefit for people, even without you having to add to it as an added service, meaning they can innovate on the platform. You're starting to see a story of somebody who really likes to give to the world and create an impact. And I'm wondering if those are the values that come from like your home life. I know we briefly talked about your dad, but
Yeah.
it's really inspiring to me, because it makes me wonder now, how do you go about developing a strategy for a client? Let's say I'm a client who's now heard of Zype, and I'm like, wow, okay, I want to know more about this because I heard some names drop there like Crunch, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so I want to know, how do you go about presenting something for a client, a potential client,
Yeah.
so that I myself might get a better look at things and go, okay, let's make the deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first of all, we really try to focus on customers' need, and we're very customer centric. Right? Our entire team is really focused on solving pain points, getting their people at the company side, whether it's the content manager, or like it could be like the salesperson's got to sell more ads on video, or the legal team that has got to get governance and security figured out. Like really focus on what their needs are. At the end of the day, if you're a company that needs to distribute video to like more than one place, you should be looking at Zype. At least take a look at what we're offering. We have a lot of educational content on our website. Um, and then we start looking at really like two really key factors, right? Um, do you currently have video infrastructure? Like, are you trying to like maybe simplify things, right? Are you trying to, we have a lot of, we call it, we have like companies that already have stuff running, right? They already have, a video content system. They're already producing video, putting it on their apps, or distributing to like, podcasting services, whatever it is, right? They already have this. They want to make it better. There's some kind of pain there for their team. And so for those kind of customers, we try to look at like, where are you going today and where do you want to go tomorrow? And if you're distributing to more than one place, should be looking at Zype. We have the most connectors to get out to all these different places. So once you're with us on like one endpoint, let's say Apple TV, it's very straightforward to then go to like the 20 other places you can go to today with us. So we try to focus it on that. If you're building new, let's say you don't have existing stuff and you're building a whole new thing, and you could be an existing company. We have one of our customers is called Spin Master, one of the largest toy companies in the world. So if you use like AirHop drones, or you've watched like Peppa Pig, you've
Yeah.
interacted with Spin Master.
Oh wow.
And they use video in a way that, they're not a video publisher as their core business. They sell toys, they license toy products, stuff like that. But they're putting out 24/7 streams on YouTube and showing people, the content related to their product to drive more interest. So, more people are buying their toys, or logging into their website and interacting with their other products. So that's a new thing for them, right? So how do we use video to get more engagement, spread our message, That's something we look at companies. We say, okay, what's your audience size that you have already? How many people like are prepared to, like, if you were on this platform, would sign into it, would watch it, and if you maybe you don't have it yet, you're a startup, we might be able to provide some guidance. But the customers that we love are the ones that might be in a different industry, but now want to start doing video at scale, and they have an audience and know who they are. They just got to get it to them, and that's
Okay.
where we can really help them out.
Wow. Okay. So who would you say is your most ideal client then in terms of like overall type? Like if this is the perfect solution for you, the perfect recipe for Zype.
Yeah, so it's, the person is typically like a VP of product or a VP of engineering. They're like ultimately the people have to buy the product because they're going to be using our APIs, they're going to be using our tools to build their vision, right? Like I said, we're giving you a platform so you can build your own vision. And then the customer is a media and entertainment customer or in a related industry. So fitness, faith. We run dozens and dozens of very popular faith-based organizations. Imagine during COVID how important that was to
Yeah.
them. Like I
Yeah.
said, fitness we mentioned again. What were we doing with gyms in March and April? Like, our customers that were using our platform saw a huge increase in streaming because they need to give their members a way to work out, and video is the way to do it, right? And they're
Yeah.
doing this behind paywalls. We're helping them capture revenue. Sports, toys and hobby companies, anybody with like a media like angle that may not be a media company. That's who we're really growing with right now, and we're starting to work with some of the tier one media companies as well. So, if you're in that size where you can address, 100,000 people or more,
Yeah.
that's you should be talking to us. We do have startups using our product, and we're developers ourselves. We built our product out of necessity, being software developers.
Right.
So we love working with great startups. And if you're building something that you're looking to scale to millions of people around video, we definitely please look into us. I think we have a great product for you.
So if you were to look at where you are right now, is the vision for Zype coming along? Is it where you want it to go? Is it on the trajectory?
Yeah, I think so. I think we were a little early in some cases, in terms of where we were. Like we came out with this like connected API first vision in 2015, right? And at that time, the devices weren't quite there yet. Not everyone
Yeah.
had the streaming stick, and maybe you still had a cable subscription, right? So it wasn't. We were a little bit early on that. I look at that as a blessing because it allowed us to really lean into our customers that were ready for our product and focus on them and help them be successful. And our NPS, our Net Promoter Score, is like pretty high. It's like 60 plus.
Wow.
Our retained revenue is pretty high. Most of our customers grow with us over time. We've done a lot to like reduce churn and things like that. These are the things that entrepreneurs should be I wish I was focusing on them earlier in my career. Like I had to learn this stuff. I didn't go to like software business school, and like I don't think one exists, frankly. I think you have to kind of do this stuff. But now the market's kind of come to us in a lot of ways, right? Like who's
Yeah.
not using a Roku TV or a Apple device or,
Everyone
who's
is.
not watching video on YouTube or something like that. And like that's where all the places we go to. So I think I'm really happy and again, like feel really fortunate, particularly around the pandemic, being in a business where whenever I tell someone what I did, like if I meet someone on the street or like, at a party or whatever, virtual party, they're like, wow, it must be good to be in the video streaming business. Everyone, people recognize that because during pandemic, like this is one of the businesses that's really helping people get by, right?
Yeah.
In our industry, the Zooms and the Zypes are really helping people. So I think that this has been a critical year for us and really helped us take advantage of the trends that were happening already anyway,
I've been itching to ask you a question since we started this conversation. Being that you've been at the forefront of technology since you were a kid, I was wondering if you could give any inklings into what you see the future holding, not only for Zype but for technology and video streaming technology to begin with.
Yeah, I think for us, like we're building our service on top of the internet, which is like open, right? We're big believers in open internet and allowing for innovation. And I don't see any barriers to our growth. more than just execution, right? We have to execute, and that means we need to like lead on terms of standards that are out there. There's a lack of standards around out there and practices, and we want to be someone that's helping the industry and not just looking out for ourselves. We're building more tools and experiences for our customers, so more user experiences, more drag and drop type stuff, more flexibility. So like even you, Philip, as a content creator and a host and someone who's building content, there may be products that you could use from us in the future that you wouldn't need to be like a software developer.
Look into it,
yeah. So we think that's really important. I think generally in the next 5 years, we're going to see the market continue to fragment. Like, I don't think there's going to be, I remember a lot of rejection letters I got from VCs 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, were like, oh, you know what? YouTube's going to own all of this. You don't need to be doing this. You know what I mean? So that not happening, right?
Yeah, no, they were so wrong.
Yeah, every day there's another service, there's another Hulu, Peacock, whatever. I mean, it's literally every day. Someday it'll be consolidation, I guess, but there's more fragmentation coming. I think new formats will emerge. I think partly ones that we've been talking about for a long time, like VR and AR. Something will happen with those. We're starting to see it a little bit fundamentally where those formats may become relevant. It's going to take cultural moments like pandemic and other things to drive some of the things forward and make them worthwhile. I also think you'll see new formats emerge that kind of like the story format, like in vertical video, that came out of nowhere, right? Like we weren't asking for that. No one was like, we need vertical video, we need the story format. But now every social platform has vertical video and story. I think you'll see new things pop up we can't even anticipate. I know that's like not a great answer, but like I think video is it's how we communicate now. It's our medium. So I think it's where innovation is going to happen. Is so many more formats and ways to interact are video centric over the next 5 years. It'd be pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could literally see how one day you might get phones that automatically have like the Zype technology built into it so that you could just distribute straight from your phone already, just as I imagine one day it'll be there, given with the AR and the VR. And you're right. A moment just like right now in history would be all we need to push it into that. And a company like you, who's already built such a deep infrastructure in video streaming, is totally primed to be able to step into those worlds of VR and AR without any trouble, I imagine.
Well, it's easier said than done, some of this stuff, but we're excited to be part of it. We're trying to be part of the space. I appreciate it.
I'm letting my ignorance in programming show. I don't know what kind of coding it takes to make those things happen. It's exciting to have
the opportunity. Look, I think it's exciting to have those opportunities to be there in those spaces. I'm glad we're in the business we're in, and I'm super excited that have this amazing team, and really blessed, I think, to really be helping. I think we are, as a company, part of the story of helping keeping people together and connecting the world's video.
So I was wondering if there's any like big news, or like are you working on something for Zype right now? Like everyone has a Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. We're in Q4. So I know you said you're ahead and early. So what's next? What can we expect for 2021 in Zype?
Yeah, so we have a pretty aggressive roadmap for next year. I'll tell you about one thing we're doing right now in Q1. That's our new we have a new really cool user interface for scheduling what we call playout, which are basically TV stations. So imagine you go to like your cable guide, your Pluto TV, and you see all the channels lined up, and you see, I'm going to watch, this show, then that show, then that show. Well, that all runs on these systems called playout systems. We're going to give our customers a visual drag and drop way to design their own television surface. So they can go out there, they can broadcast whatever they want. If you had like, let's say 10 episodes of this podcast, and you want to group it together and then loop that every day for 24 hours and push it out to 10 places, you could visually design that, or an entrepreneur could do that and immediately monetize it and make it engageable. So it's called the Zype's Playout Scheduler. It's the next generation of our Playout product, which won the product of the year, I think 2 years ago at NAB. And that one we're pretty psyched about because it's very visual. It's fun to play with. It looks like QuickTime or Final Cut or something like that.
Okay, so
super psyched about that one.
See, all right. And I'm glad you could share something with us. I know sometimes it can be a little hard to share things if it's not ready to be shared yet, contractually or however that goes. But I guess
ready to go.
Yeah. I guess I usually wrap things up by asking an interesting question, because this is business after all, right? The podcast focus. And you know that you never know who's listening, and that's how business works. So, oh, I know a guy. I mean, look at the just the trajectory you've told me of yourself. Being introduced to people and meeting, as we were talking before and during this conversation that was recorded. So, is there anyone in particular that you'd love to meet at this time, whether it's like a new hire or someone in by trade or a name or someone you're just a fan of? Is there anyone in particular that might take things to the next level, or you're just a fan that you'd love to meet?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think I would love to meet Joe Biden, president-elect.
Hey,
Oh, did I lose you?
no. Oh, did you?
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, the video went a little wacky here.
Oh,
I'd love to meet President like Biden because I think that um, I know a lot of like administrations in the past have talked about like how technology has to be centric to like the evolution of the American economy and all this kind of stuff. I think like more than ever before, we need to really make sure that technology, whether it's video, whether it's commerce, whether it's crypto, all these things, and we look at all these controversies with the election and all the immediacy of like pandemic, how important this stuff is. That like we really need to consider this stuff at that level as being existential to our success as a country. And I think I'd love to talk to him, hear about his experience, and be one of the many, I think, technology focused product people that might be able to like lend some asks for an administration to make sure that we keep technology and innovation at the center of who America is.
man, I think that just speaks so much to the level of ambition and I want to say contribution that you have at heart to yourself as a person and as a founder of a company. I mean, you're looking to tackle directly some of the biggest problems in this country, and at the same time to make sure you impact as many people as possible. And I think that says so much about the way you then step into your company and the kind of vision and leadership that you provide. So that's why I always ask questions like that, because it always says so much about somebody.
Thank you.
It's truly been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, Ed. I mean, no one can know anyone from one conversation, but this is cool, man. I hope to be able to connect with you. And on that topic, beyond this, is there anywhere in particular you prefer people to connect with you on, whether it's like a social media network or email or website? What's your preferred method?
Yeah, so if you're interested in learning more about Zype, definitely Zype.com, ZYPE.com. Like a lot of great resources on there. Whether you're looking to try our service out, learn more, connect with our talent team, it's all on there. And then for me personally, I love working with entrepreneurs and other people in the business. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. Edla EDLA is my handle, and always looking to meet new people and have a dialogue and be very open. So reach
There
out.
it is. Ed Laczynski, the man who's been at forefronts of technology since he was just a tyke. I'm jealous, man. I mean, I remember web TV way back in the
Oh
days
yeah,
when I first came into the force. So hearing you talk about Hewlett Packard and all the OG floppy
yeah,
disk and everything, it's just
yeah.
it's yeah. The kids don't know, and I'm still a kid, but even further back, they
Yeah, I
just
know.
don't know.
It's
Man,
well.
I hope we can do a second conversation at some point in the future, man, to get to
Yeah,
know you just a little bit more.
I would love that, Phil. Thank you so much, and a real pleasure. And let's please stay in touch. I hope to see you in person one of these days once we can do that.
Count on it. Let's do it. All
All
right,
right.
Ed. Take care, man.
Thank you. Take care.